Bob Yeager here. So today I'm going to show you my scout pack. You guys are familiar with my brown bag that I keep my pots and pans in and stuff, but I use this for other things as well. So on the side, you can see I have my little, lanyard here. Basically, it tightens everything down, and I got a coffee cup and some cargo tape, and I just have that secured with a toggle basically. So I just yank the toggle out and pull that string, and everything just comes off the cord there. And then if I pull this out, I always keep some kind of cotton bandana or some sort with me. Wipe sweat off, clean your pots, that kind of thing. Of course, it could be used as a bandage or whatever, right? I'm just going to throw that to the side. Inside there, self-aid kit. It's not a first aid kit. This is a self-aid kit. It's enough for me. It's not enough for anybody else. But it has things like ibuprofen, simple bandages, gauze, antiseptics. This is a simple pack. This is for minor cuts and things like that. All right. And combined with the bandana and my cargo tape, we have a more robust kit basically, right? Next thing is, I always keep some kind of add water type food with me because I make a small lunch when I'm out. I don't eat a lot when I'm out. Then we have a poncho, and inside here is also two 6 mil trash bag liners. The trash bag liners I typically use for ground cloth, something I can lay on the ground. If it gets wet out, I can sit on, or I use it to carry things like collecting tinder or different resources, maybe berries, things like that, right? But this is a ripstop poncho, which can also act as a secondary shelter. So if I'm going away from my camp, I can carry this small bag and I have that in there. And I have my ridge line. I always keep a bright colored ridge line. Most of the cordage that I use besides bank line is bright colored. I'm not looking to blend into the woods as much as I am not wanting to hang myself in the middle of the night when I walk past my stuff, right? In here I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 6 tent pegs. They're just ABS. These ones are special ones where you run the line through. I like those ones a lot. And then I have 2 of the yellow ones. These ones get stuck in the ground a lot, so I'm not all that crazy about them. Headlamp. Don't know how long I'm going to be out. A lot of times the sun goes down before I realize what happened, and I got a headlamp. Then I have my S-hooks and my Dremel for hanging my pot and everything over the fire. I think I've shown this before. It just works like you hang it off of your tripod with an S-hook like that, and then if you need to lower your pot towards the fire, you just adjust that down and adjust that up. I make these all the time. They're pretty easy to make. Before I get to what's in the pot, just some odds and ends. A decent full-size fork and spoon. Lid for my small bush pot. Sriracha seasoning, it's my favorite. Fish mouth spreader for hanging water bottles or pots over a fire, smaller fire, like that. You just stick that down in the water bottle and it holds onto it. And then I got the lid for my big bush pot right here. It's kind of almost pointless to carry a bush pot without a lid. If you want your water to boil fast, carry a lid. Okay, inside the big bush pot, this is the one I carry. This is the 120 ounce bush pot. I can use it as an oven with a pack grill. I can obviously just boil water in it, things like that. It's a good size, but most importantly, the reason I carry that is I might just take my bank line, that bag and things, and carry this into the woods, right? And inside here is a 10 by 10 Defender tarp, AquaQuest Defender tarp, that fits right into my 120 ounce bush pot perfectly. So I don't have cheap cover when I'm going out. I have good, really good cover. Secondarily, what I carry with me secondary bag is my H2O bag, my water bag, and a can of fuel. Easy enough to carry the can of fuel in my hand. I have a strap on the water bag. Inside the water bag, I have a Primus cook stove for the fuel. The attachment's down inside the adapter. 64-ounce bottle of water, which is enough generally to make my coffee and my noodles. Then inside here I have the 48-ounce bush pot, and that's what the lid from the other pack is for. And then inside this pocket I keep pre-measured rations of coffee for my kettle, small pack grill, and like I said, I can use that if I'm making like a bread or something like that for my lunch or my breakfast. I can use that inside the bush pot to make that, to bake it like an oven. And here's the other piece of the Primus stove. Other than my coffee kettle, that's generally what I'm carrying when I'm coming out here. Not the lightest weight gear setup, but very compact, and that's what I like. I don't really care about lightweight. Even when I'm going on long treks, I can sit and take a breather. Now let me show you the things that I carry in my pocket. So first and foremost is my whatever primary cutting tool that I'm going to carry on my belt today. I'm just carrying a Mora 510, I think it is. It's small, it's carbon steel. I can cast spark off of it. I've done it plenty of times. When I'm not really planning on doing really big tasks or anything, I basically carry this knife with me. It's small. I don't really care if something happens to it because they're really cheap. And my secondary cutting tool is my Swiss Army Forester Ranger grip. It's got a saw, it's got the primary blades and everything. It's got everything I need on it for a multi-tool. Then in this pocket, I carry my ferro rod. It's got charred lamp wick on the end of it, and then it's got Gorilla Tape wrapped around here. Tear this into strips. It makes a great flash fire starter. And then the charred lamp wick is obviously great for getting an initial spark going for a tinder bundle if you need it. On the other side, I have a pen and a carpenter's pencil because I always carry a notebook, carpenter's pencil, this is Right in the Rain, and my compass with me as my navigation tools, along with my ranger beads that are tied to one of my bags. All right. The other things I tend to carry are some kind of instant fire. The mini Infernos, right, from Self-Reliance Outfitters. These are great because I could tear just a little piece off, feather them out, and I get a fire pretty instantly. It lasts pretty long to get my kindling going. The other thing I carry are these little pieces of jute twine. I soak them in kerosene, then coat them in wax. You can actually buy these. There's a veteran on eBay that sells those like that. These are basically matches. What you do is you just feather them out because you don't want to be wasting your lighter resources too much. I mainly start my fires with lighters or a magnifying lens. I rarely use like flint and steel and bow drills and things like that. I'm looking for fire now usually when I'm starting a fire. So you just basically feather that out like that. And these will generally burn for about 4 minutes. But what I like about them, they'll hold a nice flame where I can get my stuff going. And when I blow them out, I can save it for next time. What's also nice about this, you drop these in water and leave them in there for an hour and they'll still light up. So really simple, cheap to make, and I always have them. And obviously the tin can act as a char tent, right? Other than that, I carry, that's why I wear cargo pants. I carry a roll of, this is number 36 bank line. I use this a lot for prusik loops, for tying lashes and things like that. Strong. And I usually have, either in my bag or in my pocket, I have bungee cords. It's just a quick way to secure a tarp. That's the only reason I carry that. Today I carried it. My button broke on my pants, so I used a bungee cord to secure my pants. Other than that, in my back pocket, I always keep a pruner. And either secured to my bag or just tied onto it, I have a trowel. And I always carry a saw of some sort. That's a base camp. It's not extremely heavy. It's everything that I need to get going. I can collect water, I can boil water. I don't have to create a fire if I don't want to, because I have my Primus stove with me. So it's really dry out and I don't want to be building a fire. I don't have to. Not to mention, this is a great, I just want to get into the woods and relax for the day. The only thing I may add to this kit, if I wanted to stay out a bit longer, just relax, is a hammock. Today I just happen to be out here working, so I don't bring the hammock because I just use it. So that's just an example of a nice, compact, small kit, but that's a lot of stuff in a small little package. And the key ingredient to this really is a bush pot bag, like any type of canvas, cotton bag, wax canvas bag, whatever you want to use, and 120-ounce bush pot. I got this one on selfrelianceoutfitters.com. They don't sponsor me, I just like to use their gear. And like I said, I can set these legs up like this. Well, let me do it like this for you. So I put the pot handle up like this. There's coffee in there, and then I just put my grill in the bottom of it like that, right? And then I have my lid I can put on the front of it. And then what I do is just open the legs like this so it's up off the coals, and I might even set a rock in the back. Another thing you could do is put rocks in the bottom of this, create thermal mass. I don't usually do that. I don't have a need to. And I build my fire right up over top of it. The most important part is the fire on top and just a little bit of coals on the bottom, because you don't want to burn, because it's closer to the bottom, right? You don't want to burn it really bad. But 6 or 7 minutes and you got yourself a nice small loaf of bread that you can have with your lunch, which is pretty cool. Or like when I go trout fishing and things like that, I can fillet a trout. I can start my fire, put this in there, put the trout in there, bread the trout if I brought flour and things like that, and I got an oven. So, but like I said before, I also have a pot, which is important, and it's a big one, you know, so I can boil water for whole camp. If there's 2 or 3 of us, I can boil water for all of us right on in one spot. Plus my water bottle, stainless steel, I can boil water in that. My coffee pot, my stainless steel coffee pot, I'll show that to you. There's my coffee pot. It's just a little SS, Pathfinder SS coffee pot, stainless steel. You know, it doesn't take much to make for a good camp. And you don't have to take a carload of stuff with you. The only thing you might want to add to it if you're going to go out with your kids or whatever, a bag of food, right? But the more people you have, the more you can distribute the weight. So this is the stuff I would carry. It's probably weighing in about 30 pounds, somewhere around there. I would have my son or daughter carry light bags of food in their shelter kits, small shelter kits, because they're littler than me. And my wife would carry the extras in her backpack, right? So, and each person's going to have their own fire starting and their own self-aid kits, all right? So it's really reasonable, and I carry my phone too, don't forget about that. It's really reasonable to think that if you go out with your family, if you're a family of 2, 3, 4, you can have a really nice camp where you don't have to, you know, unload the car behind you and everything. Everything's secured into these packs, and that's it. But the most critical thing really is create a pack that you could just grab and go. So if you're at your camp and you want to go on a hike, my H2O bag's got a small grill in it. It's got my Primus in it. It's got my big bottle of water. I could stuff my food down in there, right? Got my bush pot in there, and I can put my lid in the bottom of this, close it up. And the only thing I really need to carry in my hand or in a separate little sack or whatever I can throw over my shoulder is my fuel container, right? But generally, what I like about this setup is I could set my tarp up and everything. I could stuff everything else back in my bush pot and back in the bag, and I could take the H2O and the bush pot bag with me, and then my camp's set up. It's ready to go, right? So when I come back, I already have my shelter up, and I have my poncho there for an emergency shelter if I'm out on a hike and it starts raining. So just things to consider. Play around with it. For years, many of us just carried a pot or a paint can with a bale on it. We always put bales on them. And we could stuff our shelter and primary stuff in here, right? And then we used to carry a belt with a canteen on it, which you could still do. As long as you got your cordage, your cutting tools, your container, your cover, and your combustion devices, that's the 5 C's. Dave labeled 5 C's, Dave Canterbury. You're in really good shape at that point. What's the other things you could add to it? Well, your candling devices, right? You can add your navigation, your compass to it, right? You could add cargo tape to it, okay? So you can keep adding, and the reason Dave uses C's, it's just easy to remember, basically, unless you're me when I forget everything. Just pack it all tight, and you have it nice and compact. Off you go. Enjoy your day, or 2 or 3. This is a good, honestly, this is a good 72-hour pack, but it's also a good extended pack. If I was thinking extended, what would I have? I'd probably have my 22 rifle or my single shot 12 gauge with my adapters, a slingshot, or a bow. The shotgun's probably going to be my main go-to because I have my adapters and I can shoot pretty much anything through there. So if I need a game or anything like that, I got what I need. If I can't get a fire started, I got black powder with me. I can start a fire with that, right? No matter if it's wet out or not. So that's what I got. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.